Hi, my name is Fernando Martinez, Senior Content Producer for Adorama TV, and today we're going to talk about the Insta360 1-inch 360 edition. This 360 camera can do up to 6K 30 frames per second, 21 megapixel stills, and has a series of features including Timelapse, Star-Lapse, HDR, and live streaming. Now, I know there's a stigma with 360 and VR as mediums, but to me, the 1-inch 360 is more of a production camera, while something like the Insta360 X3 is more of an action camera. The 1-inch 360 requires intention to get the best out of it. So you can use it as a roaming camera that you can reframe, do complex moves, or recompose during the post-production process. So the last thing I'll mention before talking about today's shoot is the 1-inch sensor, which allows the camera to have better dynamic range and better performance in low light. I went around the city during this holiday season to see what I can capture and test out some of the features. I will say that this is my first time using a 360 camera like this one, so everything you see is coming from a first-time user. So what's the best way to shoot this camera? As I mentioned before, you need to be intentional with your shots. So given that it's a wide-angle lens, whatever moves towards and away from frame is important to show motion. Movement and camera placement are key to create an immersive experience for the viewer. To create that movement, the more range of motion, the better, and this is where the extended invisible selfie stick comes in, which allows you to create sweeping, even drone-like shots easily. One thing to keep in mind is to avoid the stitch. Even though it does a very good job at stitching, it does have its limits, so just make sure you have enough distance from you and the subjects in order to avoid cutting into the seams. This camera is water resistant, but not waterproof, so it's okay if it gets wet, just don't dunk it in water. In terms of the best settings, you need to set yourself up to win. So keep in mind that dynamic lighting is the best way to go. Lots of natural light and color is where this camera shines. I would say to keep your sharpness low, color standard, and I would recommend to expose manually whenever possible. Make sure you expose for the highlights, as with a lot of digital cameras, clipping highlights might have you lose information. Flow state is great, but watch your step. Because of that third axis, I would still ninja walk as much as you can to keep it as steady as possible. So even for this talking head, I wanted to go with the 1-inch 360, along with the mic adapter, the invisible bracket, and the DJI mic setup in order to see the potential for it for self-recording and vlogging. So here's a quick audio test of the audio coming directly from the camera. And here's the audio coming from the DJI mic coming through the mic adapter. So once you have all of your recordings, you can download the Insta360 Studio software in order to go over and manipulate any footage you might want to before you go into your editor of your choice. One trick that I'll mention about the Insta360 Studio is that within one shot, you can find and export different angles. So you have multiple views of the same shot. This is very important if you're going to do kind of like a multicam effect or show different aspects of a shoot. So I hope this gives you a better understanding of the Insta360 1-inch 360 edition and see if it's right for you. If you have any specific questions about anything you saw here today, please click the links down below. If you have any questions about my experience using the 1-inch 360, leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer. Don't forget to hit like, share this video around, and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. My name is Fernando Martinez. I'll see you next time.